time for movies on rock and roll football. It's Meet Me in the Foyer with Linda Marrick and Jawa.
Meet Me in the Foyer.
Thank you for herding into the cinema to Meet Me in the Foyer again. And this week, we're looking our best in our most stylish clothes. I hope you're not watching on YouTube, as we're having a blowout and bringing sheer joy as we travel from the catwalks to the edit suite to the farmyard with a woman who's always in style, Linda Marrick. How are you, Linda?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you? Did you have
Very
a good
good.
weekend or good week in general?
I did. I can't remember the weekend. Yes. I went into London to see a friend's show on Sunday, which was very
Cool.
nice, and had a very pleasant evening all round. And yourself?
Good, good. What did I do at the weekend? Not a clue, can't remember. I went to see The Sheep Detectives on Sunday. I
Very
remember.
nice.
Went to this really lovely little gala premiere, and it looked. I mean, if you have a look online, you can see all the photos. There was like even real grass carpet instead of red carpet, and it
Yeah.
was really lovely. It's really
I saw the wall of wool you were stood in front of. That was very nice. They seem to really go for it these days, don't they? Like theming every
Yeah,
premiere is great.
yeah.
I think we've had a clue, but what films will you be reviewing for us this week?
Yes, I'll be reviewing The Sheep Detectives,
Mhm.
and my second movie will be The Devil Wears Prada 2.
Lovely stuff.
Mhm.
Lovely. Looking forward to both of those. And I, of course, will bring you my classic movie review, the movie news, and as always, the box office top 10. So why don't we begin with that box office top 10?
Meet Me in the Foyer.
It's box office top 10 time, as I said. So as it stands, as we record, at number 10, it's not a film. So it's The Magic Flute at the Royal Opera House, which I'm sure is excellent. But above that, a real film, but not a new film, because it's Fight Club, the 4K restoration
Oh,
that's been out and made 100 grand in the 1 week on release. And I didn't even know it was back out, but I would have been tempted had I known.
yeah, same. Didn't know.
Excellent
Okay.
film. I remember watching that for the first time and thinking, oh yeah, this is all right. And then it got to the halfway point, and my mind just sort of melted out of my head. Incredible film.
Yeah.
Above that, it's 8, and it's Exit 8, which has been out for a
Oh,
week.
great movie.
Yeah,
It's a really good movie. I encourage anyone to go and see it. Just really wonderful little sort of is it Japanese? I think it's Japanese.
I think you're right.
Horror, kind of horror, psychological thriller. Really, really good.
Cool. Above that, a film I don't really know anything about, and I didn't write any notes for it, so naughty James, but it's Rose of Nevada, which has been
Oh
out a
God,
week.
it's Mark Jenkins' movie. Mark Jenkins, who did Bait, and can't remember his second movie, what it was called. Really good. He's actually a good friend of mine, and
Wow.
I did not review his movie because it's just sometimes when you're friends with people, it's a really fantastic movie. Sometimes when you're friends with people, you don't really, and I'm so glad it's doing so well in the top 10. Really good.
Wonderful. Above that, it's a film that's been around for 5 weeks now. It's The Magic Faraway Tree that's made £14 million.
My God,
Yes, pretty good. isn't it?
insane!
And
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, really unexpected, didn't it? It's sort of mid reviews, I would say, and no, absolutely smashing it at the box office. And as I say, you can hear Linda's review on that on one of our previous episodes. Above that, another one where you can go back through our library and hear Linda's review. It's Lee Cronin's The Mummy that's now made. That number can't be right, can it? £2 million? No, that can't be right. My terrible notes have let us down once again. But above that, another film you can hear Linda's review of on a previous show. It's The Drama that's been out for a month now and has made just under £10 million at the UK box office. Now, a film that's made far more than that, and once again, to sound like a broken record, you can hear Linda's review on a previous show. At number 3, it's Project Hail Mary that's been out for 6 weeks now. As Linda told us last week, it's had its run extended in cinemas, which is fabulous because I might actually manage to catch it now. And that's made £32 million at the UK box office. Above that, a film you can't catch a review of from Linda, because she didn't bother, and I don't blame her. It's the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which has made £34.4 million at the UK.
No, I've seen it.
Oh, no, I know.
No, I have seen it. It's all right, I guess, you know.
Never was there a more mediocre review than that.
It's fine. It's just not for us. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's getting people in. I mean, you know, these animations, if there is a half term or end of term holiday, that's all anyone's going to go and see. So
yeah. I mean, I know my nephew would have been excited to see it, and will definitely have been to see it. But when I say my nephew, he is in his mid-20s, so might be one of the older people there.
I do have my nephews have been to see it, and they were Zach's nephews, but you know, my nephews. They are 8 to 12 or 9 and 12.
Okay, yeah, a bit more target market.
Perfect, yeah, because they're obsessed with the Super Mario game on Switch. So yeah, they loved it.
Oh, well, that's the review we need. We'll have to get them on next time. And at number 1, another film you can hear Linda review if you go back to last week's episode. It's been out a week, but it's already made $11.5 million at the UK box office alone. It's the slightly controversial Michael.
Just have all these songs in my head. Just gotta get them out. I'm just getting started.
Said you wanna be starting something.
There's no one like you.
Got to be starting something.
This is what I was put on earth to do.
And mother always told me.
I knew you were different the moment you were born. You let your light shine into the world.
Hey, the feeling like my love.
You are the greatest of all time.
Keep us together. I'm the one.
230 million worldwide already. It took,
Holy moly.
yeah, this is just 1 week. It took Project Hail Mary a month to do that. That is insane.
That is crazy.
It completely, people were expecting it to do like 90 million.
Yeah, wow.
So,
Well, that might pay off some of the Michael debt that he accrued during his lifetime, but who knows where the money's actually going, saying that.
well, I mean, most of the money obviously will go to, some of the money will go to the family for agreeing to let them use the music and so on, because it's without the music, the film does not exist. But most of the money will go to, you know, director, writers, the cast, and obviously whoever is releasing the movie in whatever country. Here it happens to be Universal, and I'm always happy to see Universal do well, because I always worry, because they're one of the very few studios still releasing weekly movies, and I always worry when things don't really work out for them. And for me, if they're making money, that means more movies are coming out, and you know.
Intriguing, actually. That, I mean, obviously the music and the film are separate companies, but unless I'm mistaken, he was on Sony as an artist, and it's just interesting that they haven't released the film. But right, so that's the box office top 10 for this week.
Meet me in the foyer.
And I believe it's review time. So, stop me if you've heard this before. Bar Black Sheep, have you any wool? No sir, but I can investigate deaths of a suspicious nature and perhaps find movie fame. And I've got my eye on that suspicious boy who lives down the lane, who is currently my chief suspect in an unsolved murder. At least that's what I think the sheep will be saying in Hugh Jackman's new film, The Sheep Detectives. Anyway, time to stop bleating around the bush. I'm feeling a little sheepish now. Just flock it. Let's move on. That's a woolly good plan. So let's go over to Chief Inspector Linda, who won't pull the wool over your eyes and will take us over the case file.
If there's one secret to happiness in my life, it's taking care of the kindest creatures on earth. Sheep. I want you to meet my flock.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be.
I keep them well fed, well groomed, and each day I read out loud to them mysteries, whodunits. I know who the killer was. I like to pretend that they follow along, but they're only sheep.
Ah! Why would he stop there?
He was just about to say who the killer was.
This is torture. It was the maid, right?
When I wake up,
Wake up! Everybody wake up!
We found George on the grass, and he's not moving.
What?
Lily, tell us what to do.
Our shepherd was murdered. And we shall solve the crime. George was visited by someone he knew well enough to offer a drink.
Not much of a story for you, I'm afraid.
Unless there's anything out of the ordinary.
The policeman is completely hopeless. We need to help him.
You think you're brave enough to leave home?
We're not scared.
What is that?
I think it's a road.
But what is it made of?
Well, not grass, I can tell you that.
Are you coming?
For George?
For George. Officer Derry, I am George Hardy's lawyer. He wrote a will. In the nighttime stories, the people in the will are always the suspects.
That man had nothing.
Well, actually, there is $30 million. And we have our motive. We need to look for clues.
Stand back.
I am, after all, a sheep detective.
Who killed George? What are they hiding?
What if I can't solve it?
I've read you dozens of these stories. They follow very simple rules.
Look, the clue.
Every time something happens with this case, that's my hat. There they are. A clue. Thank you all.
Sheep can do things. In fact, we can do anything.
I want to bash it! I want to bash it so bad!
What's with them? Guys, I may be inside a clue. Ow!
This is, I have to say, I really, up to about maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, I didn't even know of the existence of this movie, and I just could not work out why it was being made, why I was being invited to come and see it and review it. But I actually, it brings me a lot of joy to say that this is absolutely delightful. It's one of those rare family movies that manage to be both kind of light and also very profound, and they touch on subjects you don't expect kids movies to touch on. It's directed by Kyle Balda, and it's written by Craig Mazin, and it's an adaptation of the Leone Swan international bestseller, 2005 novel Three Bags Full. So it is a hybrid. It's a kind of like live action CGI. So the live action, all the people in it are people, and then you've got sheep who are voiced by other actors as well. So yeah, so it's really whimsical. It's really sort of like Sen is really idyllic English countryside. The premise is brilliant, really. It's just so wonderful. It's just, after their beloved shepherd George Hardy dies, he's played by Hugh Jackman. He's found dead under mysterious circumstances. The flock of sheep that he's been taking care of all their life must take it upon themselves to solve his murder. So what follows is kind of part countryside whodunit, part like think of the Thursday Murder Club with a hint of Midsummer's Murder. Midsummer Murders, and it's kind of like it deals with these, with, as I say, it's a lot more profound than you think, and there are sort of it broaches things like death, the meat industry, the sort of life in the countryside, the beauty of having a very simple life outside of the noise. It's just such a wonderful movie. So the human cast features Succession's Nicholas Braun, who plays cousin Greg. Is it cousin Greg? I think it's cousin Greg, yeah. And he does a really, really fabulous English accent. And I actually was watching it with my other half, and who hadn't recognized Nicholas Braun at all in the film. And it was only afterwards that he said, "Oh, actually, who played the police officer?" So he plays Tim Derry, who's a local policeman, who's a bit clueless and a bit sort of, bumbling. So and his English accent is absolutely perfect. And if you didn't know that was Nicholas Braun, and if you didn't know he was American, you actually wouldn't even notice it. We've got also Nicholas Galitzine and Molly Gordon, who play. I won't tell you who they play because that would be like a big spoiler. There's also Emma Thompson is in the movie, and all sorts of weird and wonderful people. And the sheep are they are voiced by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And then you've got Bryan Cranston, Chris O'Dowd. Actually, Chris O'Dowd, who was also at the screening on Sunday, who's he seemed to be having fun. Chris O'Dowd, Regina Hall, Patrick Stewart, Bella Ramsey, Brett Goldstein, and Rhys Darby, who I love. Rhys Darby is the Kiwi comedian. Who is really fabulous and really very much loved, and I think he does loads of voiceovers. So the voices work in, they never really feel gimmicky or like over the top. It is a really odd movie, I have to say. It's a really kind of like it asks a lot from you, but at the same time, I just felt you can't help but it's a tad too long. It's about it's 1 hour and 50 minutes. I would have liked it to be like maybe 20 minutes shorter, but it reminded me a lot of Chris Noonan's movie from 1995, Babe.
Oh yes,
that turned a generation of kids to vegetarianism, and I feel like this could do the same because it has such a being a vegetarian myself, I just find anything that gives that kind of like pure criticism of the meat industry, and not just the meat industry or the way animals are treated in the meat industry is actually very I think there's something really positive about it. There's kind of like a familiar gentle pace and a sense that the story it builds towards something meaningful, like it captures kind of like there are questions about where do sheep go when they're no longer sheep, and and how we avoid talking about death to sheep. I mean, you can think of sheep as in children, and how we mollycoddle them and don't tell them about death. And I think what it's trying to say is that from a perspective of a normal person really is to tell your kids or tell everyone what's likely to happen after they're no longer alive. I just thought this was really, really, really sweet. And again, as I say, really beautifully, it's really whimsical and very sort of, I don't know where to even place it. It's an odd movie. It's very much like Babe, very, very much. So if you like Babe, you like this. I think it's just lovely. And go and see it, and take your kids to go and see it. They will really enjoy it.
Oh, marvelous!
I even cried. I even cried at the end.
Oh, Linda. Oh, well, I better take my tissues then, because I've got tickets booked for Monday, so I'm going to see it.
Cool.
It just seemed so appealing, so charming from the trailer that I couldn't not go and see it.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you said, I immediately thought of Babe, and I suppose better Babe than Peter Rabbit, which is the other sort of talking animals film that's been around.
I thought Peter Rabbit 2 was actually quite good. Actually, I didn't really mind the first one either. And I know there's a lot of sort of criticism of it and blah, blah, blah. I enjoyed both movies. And again, as I say, lots of people, when they review these movies, tend to forget that they are aimed at children. And you're just a guest at the table, really. So,
that's a nice way of putting it. Yeah,
you've got to see it from their point of view, and I think it's really important. And I've got I'm actually kind of like getting a little bit tired of the era of the mean critic, you know.
Yeah.
I think especially when a film is not terrible, and then it just gets really destroyed by critics because it's the cool thing to do. And I know I'm going to get loads of shit for saying this, but it's just my opinion.
No, I fully agree with you, absolutely. And of course, if the film doesn't turn kids to vegetarianism, at least it'll stop them murdering shepherds, I suppose. So, there's a plus there. Hopefully, the shepherd has completed his last woolen testament, of course. And I suppose it might be our favourite film of the year, but it won't be the Sheep's, because a Sheep's favourite film is, of course, Rambo. Okay, so
Cool.
that's enough sheep jokes for now, I think.
That's enough.
Yes.
Put them back in their box.
I apologise. Back to the barn. Thank you, Linda. That was great. Thank you very
No
much.
worries. Okay.
Right. So, shall we go on to the movie news now?
Meet me in the foyer.
In the movie news this week, I've got two pieces of news. We brought you the news a few weeks ago that A24 are the new rights holders of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre IP, which has Glenn Powell on the creative team. They're going to be creating a TV series, but we can also share with you that A24 are also planning a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. This looks like it will be helmed by director Curry Barker, who has his new film Obsession hitting cinemas soon. So we're going to see
Seeing that next week. Yeah, really looking forward to that.
Yes, I've heard a lot of hype about it. So yeah. So yeah, he sounds like an ideal choice, really, to helm the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, and who knows, a new franchise maybe in the offing. And our other piece of news this week is that over a decade ago, Quentin Tarantino and Matt Wagner produced a comic book miniseries called Django/Zorro.
Okay.
That was a sequel to Django Unchained, which brought together the two horse riding heroes. Now it seems that Sony have revived the idea of a Django Zorro crossover movie. So that was an idea they had back in 2019, and both Jamie Foxx and Antonio Banderas were approached to reprise their roles. It's not been confirmed if they're going to return again for this film, which will hopefully actually happen this time. But it is confirmed that neither Tarantino nor Wagner will be involved. So lots of ifs, maybes, and buts, but a new possible potential crossover, which is quite intriguing, I have to say. I mean, and I'm already, in my mind, I'm seeing a sequel called Django Zorro Lone Ranger. That's what I would like to see. Because I think you agree with me. I really liked that Lone Ranger film, and I think it got unfairly.
I really loved it. I loved it.
That was a lot of fun. Too long, but a lot of fun. And as I say, that's all the movie news for this week. A brief, but pleasant.
Not many news this week. I mean,
really
we could probably throw in the sort of the extraordinary results of. I think it's one of the worst reviewed movie to ever break the 200 million in its first week is Michael. And it's been very interesting seeing the reaction from people. Both, I'm kind of in the middle because I feel like lots of people have taken this as it's the death of the critic, and critics don't matter, and we never thought we mattered anyway. So it's whether you agree with us or not, and it's a very personal opinion. And I feel like we got to a point where criticism or film criticism became a little bit not too powerful, but anyone could be a critic, and it's become like a race to the bottom, and who could be the meanest about films. I think I'm right in the middle. I don't think it's a great movie. However, I also don't think it's the worst film ever made. And there are biopics that are just as bad that people didn't have that much of anything bad to say about. And I understand why. And I just feel like the ability to separate the man from the artist is really important, and it's allowed elsewhere, but it's not allowed in this instance. And I find that a bit odd.
Yeah.
Also, quite surprised that so many people are ignoring the reaction the film is getting in cinemas from people just going to see it and see it again, and like dancing and getting up and clapping, something that I usually hate. But seeing it in this instance, it's not celebrating, it's celebrating the music, I guess, and nothing else. And I think that's what people are finding it really odd to understand this. I don't think it's the death of the critic. I think I will not criticize anyone for having their own opinion. However, I just think it's really important that we keep we understand where the audience is coming from, and to revise our way of looking at films, and to revise our way of looking at the reaction that comes from audiences.
Absolutely. I think that's very well said, because I mean, yes, on your point about critics, there have always been films that do fabulously well despite bad reviews, and films that do very badly despite good reviews. And the critic is there as a sort of, I don't know, a sort of a doorway, an introduction to a film, isn't it? And you can take or leave our opinions and do that, but it has no reflection on the critic if the film does well. I agree. And there have been numerous films about people with questionable private lives, and it hasn't been an issue before. I mean, not that I'm suggesting that it's in the same category, but there was no comment at all when the Elvis movie came out the other year. And if one looks into his private life, there are dubious elements to it, and it just wasn't mentioned at all. So I think people are sort of picking and choosing their villains and heroes in things.
Well,
and similarly with the fans, obviously this is getting a boost from the sort of very loyal Jackson fans. And
well, not for nothing, I completely get where people of color, African American audiences are coming from when they say, how come the Elvis movie wasn't met with this kind of vitriol? There's two different movies, and the Elvis movie is actually a really, 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 really good film. It's a really wonderful movie, and but as you say, it's the character of the person being shown here that's being attacked, and not the music and not the film itself. So it just all feels a bit one-sided, in my opinion. But
I think very well said, indeed. But right, so shall we now move on to a review?
Meet me in the foyer.
It's time to get your glad rags out, get dressed up to the nines, and make sure you're looking your best, as it's your chance to once again walk the red carpet catwalk with Miranda Priestley, Andy Sachs, and Emily Charlton, as we make fashion our god, but sell our souls to the devil who wears Prada for the second time. So I'll hand over to our leading fashion correspondent.
So yeah, are you a fan of the original The Devil Wears Prada at all?
Confession, I saw it a few years ago. I don't think I thought a lot of it, but memory and other people's enjoyment and the upcoming sequel made me start to think, I don't remember much about it. I'll rewatch it. I rewatched it last night. I hated it. I hated it so much. I didn't like I think well, it's not my review, but I didn't think it was funny, and I think Andy is a terrible character who really starts out ditzy, suddenly becomes incredibly good at her job just because she changes her clothes, and then it just becomes a sort of mawkish at the end. But that's just me. So
you'd be pleased to know that she's a completely different person here, because she has grown up, and like her character was early 20s in the first movie. I have to say, I am a huge fan of the original one. I really liked it. It's just a little sort of rom-com, even though really the story isn't about the rom-com itself.
Yes, that's right.
So this is 20 years later, and I quite like this idea of like going back and revisiting characters in the same vein as Bridget Jones' Diary and Bridget Jones, and seeing her every 10 years or 20 years. And I look forward to seeing what Andy does in 10 years' time, and I'm sure they're gonna do another one. So yeah, this is again directed by David Frankel and is written by Aline Bosch McKenna. And then this sequel has a lot more sort of deals with subjects very close to my heart as someone who works in who has worked in the print press industry and who is now seeing it completely crumble and die in a slow death. So I think it has a lot to say about the state of journalism as a whole. So everyone who was in the first movie is back, but we also have some newcomers, and you've got Anne Hathaway reprising her role as Andy Sachs, who is this kind of in the first movie she was this like a new intern who gets terribly bullied by Meryl Streep's character Miranda Priestley, who is the devil in question, and who is the head of Runway magazine, which is like basically Vogue, really. And so yeah, she's back. What happens in her life now? Andy has not worked in the fashion industry or in fashion writing for many years. She's actually a very serious journalist and who writes for like newspapers and magazines. I think the New Yorker or the sort of the New York Times, you know. And suddenly she's at this awards, journalism awards, and she wins an award. But before she goes up to pick up her award, her and her team all get this text message saying you've been fired. Basically, that's it, we're closing down. You know, the whole team, 20 of them, all lost their jobs overnight, because that is what is happening. That is what is happening in my industry, and that's why there is no written press anymore. It's all online. There is written press, but there is no sort of like paper press, you know, printed press. And I've got it's a kind of horror movie, really, if you think about it, because it just shows you who we are. So yeah, we've got as I say, Meryl Streep. We've also got Emily Blunt, who reprises her role as Emily Charlton. I have to say, I adore Emily Blunt, and she's so brilliant in this. And she steals every scene she's in. She's got this kind of like absolute sort of villainous cat glass English accent that where she's like every single thing she says brought a smile to my face, because she was so funny and so like very sort of like straight faced, you know, like very straight faced, saying the most outrageous things, but manages to. So she's also in a different job. She's left Runway many years ago, and she's now working for Chanel. Is it Chanel? Is it Christian Dior? I can't remember. Dior. I think it was Dior. And so yeah, and then we've also got Justin Theroux, who I really love and everything. He plays a tech mogul who is the boyfriend of Emily. He's kind of like think sort of Elon Musk with a dash of Peter Thiel, like this really horrible, grimy kind of billionaire with who's you know, who thinks he's here to sort of he's he thinks he's got these really fantastic bright ideas, but all in all, he's just a dweeb with too much money to know what to do with. Well, we've also got Stanley Tucci reprising his role as Nigel. He's fabulous again. And then you have I really love the fact that also Lucy Liu plays a kind of a different type of billionaire who wants to do good, and Kenneth Branagh plays the boyfriend of Meryl Streep's character Miranda, and he's great. He's really, really, really great. I just thought this was really well done. I thought it was funny, really profound at times in the way it sort of shows what goes on in my industry as writer, and also in any kind of person who is writing for a living. It just shows that we've been rendered obsolete at this stage, and it attempts to give you a little bit of sort of hope about it's the future of the industry itself. But all in all, where it's all going. I thought this was really well done, well directed, well written. The one thing I had a problem with was they gave Andy a kind of like a romantic subplot that I felt doesn't really work, and he's played like the guy who is supposed to be her love interest is played by Aussie actor Patrick Brummel, who I can't remember what I've seen him in. I'm sure I've seen him in Thompson. They have zero chemistry on screen, and I just did not understand whether he was there. Actually, I would have appreciated more if they'd brought back Adrian Grenier, as much as everyone hated him in that original role as the really annoying boyfriend who stood in her way. I felt like maybe they should have brought him in. As I say, Kenneth Branagh is brilliant. There's a track by Lady Gaga, and she also appears in the movie at a pivotal point. All in all, it's not terribly like original in any way, but I thought for a film that deals with this superficiality of the fashion business, of the fashion world, it actually has a lot to say about things that are a lot more profound, and I enjoyed that, and why not? It's well done, and there's also a difference, and you can tell that the world has changed. Miranda, for example, is not as horrible to her assistants, or she's been made to sort of tone it down a bit because of HR, and the world has changed, and people are getting cancelled for doing things, and I thought that was quite an interesting bit about it. But yeah, all in all, fine. Really liked it. Really fun. Okay. And I actually went to the premiere, and I was invited to the premiere, and they were all there, and it was really fun. It was actually the biggest premiere of the year I've been to, and actually bigger than some of the premieres at London Film Festival. So tell you everything you need to know about this movie. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Fantastic. Yeah, because Anne Hathaway's been in town for 2 premieres back to back, hasn't she? Because she did the Mother Mary premiere. It was, I think, the night after, I think. Fabulous. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. I'm sure it's going to be a massive, massive hit. And yeah, as you say, a third one will surely come. I don't know if this is where you know Patrick from, but I know him from Colin from Accounts.
Oh my God, yes.
Which I absolutely love that show. That's such a great sitcom.
Oh, he's great. There's nothing wrong with him. I just didn't think he plays this kind of like property millionaire, not so much a billionaire, but a property millionaire. I've just thought I found that whole sort of storyline was not needed. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't need Andy to have a love interest. I am interested in her as a person. I think we need to, and it's not a romantic comedy anymore. It's a film about women who have known each other for a very long time, who have not been in each other's lives for over 20 years, who all get together and kind of you get to discover what they've become. And I just think it's a female story. It should remain as so. And although I did like the fact that Kenneth Branagh played Meryl's boyfriend in the movie. I just thought it was really good.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't say no to a bit of Ken Branagh. Absolutely. No, I have to admit, when I was watching it last night, the original, I was aware of the hatred towards Andy's boyfriend, and I really couldn't understand it because he doesn't. He has a couple of sulky moments, but really, he's telling her to quit a job she hates because she keeps saying how much she hates it,
Well,
and she sort of just whines in all the way through the film until her dad. Is it her dad? I think someone tells her, "You're just whining." Oh no, it's Stanley, isn't it? Stanley Tucci tells her,
yeah.
"You're just whining, now get doing." And that for that
Well, I
point on,
mean, you've got to read between the lines, really. She doesn't really hate the job.
yeah,
She hates the situation she's in. And I think actually it's not the writers gave him this kind of like gave the Adrian Grenier this character, which is like, a personality that is he's standing in like in a way of success for her.
mm,
And I think that lots of girls didn't really like that, and I'm
yeah,
one of them.
fair enough. I mean, I think his biggest crime was he massively overcooked the cheese sandwich he was making in the middle of the film. That was awful, but anyway, that's just my cheese sandwich snobbery coming out. So, well, thank you very much, Linda. As I
No
said,
worries.
I'm sure that'll be a huge hit. That comes out this weekend, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not going to beat Michael. I think Michael is going to be number one again this weekend.
Interesting. We shall see. Might have a
Bank
little.
holiday weekend as well. So it's,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Meet me in the foyer.
So now it's time for another of Jawa's classic movie moments. And this week we're looking at a film celebrating its 45th anniversary. So are you listening closely? Are your sound levels correct? Well then, if it's not too much of a liberty, let me fill your ears with the sounds and description of the sights put on tape in Brian De Palma's Blowout.
It began with a sound that no one was ever supposed to hear.
He's the one who saw it?
Yes, he says he pulled a girl out of the car.
I would like you to forget about her.
Yeah, that's what I heard just before the tire blew out. You're right, it was a shot.
He recorded a murder they say never happened.
There's still loose ends, witnesses. The girl, I've decided to terminate her. Terminate her. Terminate her.
Brian De Palma's Blowout. Now you hear it. Now you don't.
Blowout is a 1981 American neo-noir mystery thriller written and directed by Brian De Palma. It stars John Travolta as a sound technician from Philadelphia who, while recording sounds for a low-budget slasher film, unintentionally captures audio evidence of an assassination. Nancy Allen stars as Sally Bedina, a young woman involved in the crime. It's based on Michelangelo Antonioni's 1966 film Blow Up. Blowout replaces the photography with audio recording. And the concept of Blowout came to De Palma while he was working on the thriller Dressed to Kill from 1980. So it opened to little audience interest, as we were talking earlier about critics loving a film but an audience not, or the inverts. But it got massively positive reviews. The performances of Travolta and Allen, the direction and the visual style were cited as the strongest points. And critics also recognised the stylistic and narrative connection of the work to Alfred Hitchcock, whom De Palma admires. I think admires might be slightly underselling De Palma's feelings towards Hitchcock. And of course, is it Giallo films,
Mhm.
and is of course developed a cult status ever since. Now, the first time I watched it, I thought Alan's acting was awful, but on rewatching it, I realised she's actually playing a woman. No, this is a terrible sort of slur, but some people might call her a bimbo. She's certainly not supposed to be the brightest character in the world. She's kind of in the vein of the women you actually find in slasher films, but she's more sympathetic because she seems sort of very naive and unaware of the danger she's in. She's and she doesn't seem to realize the sort of results of her actions. She is involved in the escort business and framing people for blackmail, but she does have a good heart. So yeah, as I say, when I rewatched it, I suddenly realized what she was actually doing in her performance and realized I would been incredibly unfair in judging her initially. And the performance of Travolta is another piece of evidence that he should really be considered one of the acting greats. And had he not made so many poor film choices over his career, I think he probably would be. And of course, it features John Lithgow at a time when he was still playing terrifying, frightening, creepy characters before he became sort of this beloved family man character in things like Harry and the Hendersons and Third Rock from the Sun, and his upcoming taking on the role of Dumbledore in the Harry Potter television series.
Mm.
So as I say, it stars John Travolta as Jack Terry, Nancy Allen as Sally Bedina, John Lithgow as Burke, Dennis Franz as Manny Karp, who would, of course, go on to find fame in NYPD Blue, John McMartin as Lawrence Henry, Robin Sherwood as Betty, and Michael Tierson as Hawker. So it opens with sound before vision, where you get this heartbeat thumping away, and then you cut to a POV shot with monstrous heavy breathing, and someone or something is stalking what turns out to be a girls' dormitory at a university or an American college. But that turns out to be a fake out because we're actually watching footage for a horror slasher film, which Travolta and his director are watching to check the what's required in the edit, and they decide that the scream at the crucial moment in the slasher scene needs to be replaced. So Travolta is challenged as the sound man, the sound technician, to go out and find a new scream. And that basically is what I consider the MacGuffin of the film. His motivation is to find a new scream. And his motivation actually changes during the film to solve the mystery of the assassination that he witnesses, or he discovers he witnesses, and he's trying to prevent the cover-up that follows it, which turns out to be a very dangerous undertaking indeed. So yeah, he's outdoors that night collecting new sounds, and he sees a car crash off the road and into a creek, and he's sort of stirred into action, and he jumps into the water and he saves a woman who's drowning in the back of the car. He's then taken to hospital with her, and he's interviewed by a cop who seems strangely hostile to his statement that he's giving that there was a woman in the car, and he had to rescue her. So he's getting all these weird questions, and you start to think something's not quite right here. So it's all very Hitchcock. It's beautifully cut. It's got edited with a stunning soundtrack. It's a real masterclass in sound work. The camera work as well. It's got incredible choices of angles and long shots and cutting to close-ups, overhead shots. Yeah, so it uses special lensing. Its cinematographer is Vilmos Zsigmond, I believe. He was a Hungarian cinematographer who worked on McCabe and Mrs. Miller, Deliverance, The Long Goodbye, The Sugarland Express, Obsession, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, The Deer Hunter, Winter Kills, and Heaven's Gate, all before working on Blowout. So, an incredible sort of skilled master of cinematography, and it's edited by Paul Hirsch, who had previously worked on Hi Mum, Sisters, Phantom of Paradise, Carrie, and Obsession, all with Brian De Palma before he became here. So this is really, I think, high auteur level filmmaking. I think I first saw this at college when I was doing my film studies A level, and we would meet each week and watch a film that the lecturer had chosen for us. And I thinking about it as I was writing this, I think that might be like the happiest time in my life actually, because I was seeing new films each week that I'd never seen before, and this film just absolutely dumbfounded me, and I was so enchanted by it. I think the only De Palma film I'd seen before this was The Untouchables, which is brilliant, but very much more sort of mainstream, sort of family entertainment, really. Family might be stretching it a little bit. But the weird thing was, I liked this film, but I didn't love it. And then I think maybe 15 years later, I watched it again and I understood it more. And I realized what De Palma was trying to do. And I saw I then recognized the inspirations and the tributes in it. And over the recent years, it's risen into the top 6 favorite films of mine ever. I think it's an incredible film. So I now place it alongside my other favorites that you'll see behind me, like Jaws, With Nell and I, JFK, Planes and Trains and Automobiles, and Amadeus. Yeah, just brilliant. So as I say, it starts with a horror opening, then it becomes a sort of comic moment, and then it becomes a conspiracy thriller. So it's really sort of pushing all my buttons, absolutely. And as I say, it becomes a conspiracy when Travolta finds out that the man who died driving the car was destined to be president, and then he's sort of being bullied into changing his statement. And then it's full of just incredible work. It really is. There's a scene where Travolta listens back to his audio recording for the first time, and the camera is cutting between his face in close up to the animals and people that he was recording on the night. And then it goes into split screen when we start to hit a car appear. And as I was saying before, it uses this special lens that was very popular in the 70s, where it would drop a smaller lens over the main lens, and you would be able to have a close up and a long shot in focus at the same time. It's something that was actually used well into the 80s, because you can see it being used in the opening of Die Hard, for example. But yeah, it's this really attention grabbing effect, and it works beautifully in this scene. And then even the second time we see Travolta listening back to the tape later in the film, in this one, De Palma puts the camera as if it's on the reel-to-reel machine that he's listening to, and it rotates round and round, and you see Travolta appearing in different parts of the room as if we're jumping in time as he's working on his editing. It's just, I know people use genius too much. I use it too much, but this is genius filmmaking. It really is. So yes, after De Palma had completed his previous film, Dressed to Kill, he had a few projects in consideration, including Act of Vengeance, which later became a HBO special with Charles Bronson. He was considering making Flashdance, and he was working on his own script called Personal Effects, which would be this film, Blowout. But initially, it was set in Canada. He wrote the first draft with a competition winner in Take One magazine called Bill Mesk Jr., but his actual script version doesn't really feature in the film at all. It's filmed in De Palma's hometown of Philadelphia on an £18 million budget, and then they spent another $9 million to market it. And here we reach the point where I mention this actor every single week. De Palma initially considered casting Al Pacino, but eventually went with John Travolta, which I think is a better choice, actually, because obviously Pacino is one of the all-time greats and he can play it all, but I just think there's something fragile about Travolta that really, really works for this role. It was Travolta who lobbied De Palma to cast Nancy Allen for the role of Sally, even though De Palma was actually married to Nancy Allen at the time. But he said he didn't want her to be known for only appearing in Brian De Palma films. And of course, Travolta had already worked with her in Carrie. Although a studio executive, when he heard that Travolta had been cast, suggested casting Olivia Newton-John just because of the Grease connection. Um, but but De Palma refused that, and congratulations to him for that. And Quentin Tarantino has stated in an interview that this film is his favorite Brian De Palma movie, and in fact, he actually cast Travolta in Pulp Fiction because of liking him in Blowout so much.
Mm.
So as I've suggested, the film, although a sort of horror serial killer conspiracy film movie, is fairly preoccupied with filmmaking. So yes, you have the split diopter lens, which I mentioned earlier but couldn't remember the name of. You've got the split screens. You've got incredible sound work, really, really stunning sound work going on. Lots of overlapping dialogue and diegetic, non-diegetic sound, TVs in the background, telling you the sort of backstory. Absolutely brilliant. And tracking shots. It's all here. If you love filmmaking, then you have to see this film. It's absolutely brilliant. It also deals with guilt, with both Jack and Sally motivated by guilt from their past wrongdoings, which lead to tragic consequences. So again, we're really in the world of Hitchcock here. Yeah, it has references to other films and historical events. It has ties, as I said, to Antonioni's Blow Up and Francis Ford Coppola's The Conversation. It refers to the JFK assassination with its references to the Zapruder film, and it has echoes of the Chappaquiddick incident, which was made into a film itself must be about 10 years ago now, which is a pretty good watch. And yeah, it even references other De Palma films, because there's a moment where Dennis Franz is watching Brian De Palma's Murder a la Mode on television, and it's sort of a backstory flashback moment when Travolta tells a story about his past. Those scenes are taken from an abandoned De Palma project called Prince of the City. So yeah, it opened in 1981 from positive reviews from critics, including a few who were ecstatic, including even Pauline Kael, who gave the film one of her few unconditional raves. She said, Brian De Palma has sprung this to the place that Robert Altman achieved with films such as McCabe and Mrs. Miller and Nashville, and that Francis Ford Coppola reached with the Godfather films. That is, to the place where genre is transcended and what we're moved by is an artist's vision. It's a great movie. Travolta and Allen are radiant performers. So, I mean, yeah, it's very, very positive words from the slightly acerbic at times Pauline Kael. And Roger gets it right this time, as Roger Ebert gives it 4 stars, and he says it's inhibited by real cinematic intelligence. The audience isn't inhabited by real cinematic intelligence. The audience isn't condescended to. We share the excitement of figuring out how things develop and unfold. But sadly, it was a huge box office bomb. It only made 13 million on the budget of 18 million. And fortunately, though, public reception has improved. And as I said before, it's become a classic movie. It really is regarded by many others than me as an absolutely brilliant film. As I said before, Tarantino has regularly praised it. He considers it his favorite films alongside Rio Bravo and Taxi Driver. And he actually uses a cue from it, a music cue, in his film Death Proof, which is slightly disappointing because that's easily Tarantino's worst film. But regardless, Time selected Blowout as part of their 100 best movies of the past 10 decades, praising it as a film filled with mistrust, where the ghosts of Chappaquiddick and the Zapruder film lurk in the corners. So if you haven't seen Blowout before I blow up, feel at liberty to grab a copy and treat yourself to cinema as good as it gets.
Fabulous. I cannot remember the last time I saw Blowout.
Really?
Yeah,
I
actually.
think I've watched it 3 times this year.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
it's been a long time. Yeah.
Oh,
I do like the Michelangelo Antonioni movie. I think it's
weirdly, I wasn't so keen on that one.
Oh, really? It's
I've only
very
watched
out
it
there.
once. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's very out there. It demands a lot of work from you, and I actually don't mind that. I quite like that. I quite like films that will deliberately put obstructions in your way in watching them. And I think that's what cinema it should be about. But then, not everyone agrees with me, and that's fine,
No, well, and I'm often wrong, so I definitely should give it a second watch. No, so often I watch a film the first time and think, oh, and then I watch it the second time and go, oh, right, yes, the problem there was me, not the film. So yeah, I definitely think Blow Up deserves a second watch from me. And I think you should watch Blowout again.
Yeah, I will. Like I say, I'm honestly haven't seen it in about 20 years. So
wow, yeah,
long time.
Well worth your time, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Well, sadly, it's time to depart, as that's everything wrapped up and sheep-shaped. So remember, yes, there was one more.
You had one more left in your bag over.
That's it. 3 bags full of sheep puns. There was another one. So remember, if you like my terrible puns, subscribe to our Patreon to listen again to this episode, catch up on all the previous shows in our full extended director's cut form, and enjoy our specials. I still promise they're not bad. So I apologize. So we'll be back again soon. Until next time, have a brilliant week. Thank you, Linda, for staying with me through all of that.
No, I think I'm done with cheap puns.
This is the end of Meet Me in the Foyer. I
Please
apologize.
God, make it stop.
Well, so we may or may not be back next week for another episode.
No,
but
we'll
if
be
we
back.
are, join us. All's wool that ends wool. Bye for
Go
now.
watch some movies in the cinema. Stop sitting at home. Go watch some movies in cinema. Please do us all a favor.
You heard it from Linda, and I agree. Go buy yourself some tickets this weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Adios.
Subscribe now to help fans supporting food banks. Go to patreon.com/rockandrollfootball and look for your favourite club subscription pages and sign up with your favourite presenter. Rock and Roll Football. No adverts, no VAR, no limits.
Meet me in the foyer.